Hello and welcome to Market Psychology 101, where we look for value in the markets when there's fear and are cautious when there's greed. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin mining stocks, starting out with fear and greed, at least for stocks, because these are Bitcoin miner stocks. You can see that the stock market right now is in the lower end of neutral. We did get up to greed recently, but are ticking back down. And over on Pi vesting, you can see it is also going back down towards the neutral area. As far as crypto fear and greed, it got up to extreme greed just about a week ago. And something I've been watching here is, are we confirming a new trend to the upside? You can see we've made these higher lows and higher highs, or are we having somewhat of a fake out here before coming down to the neutral area with stocks as well? So we will see. You can take a look at this and think that maybe this is a macro lower high or that this is a reversive trend. But overall, what to watch for is whenever greed gets stuck up in the 80s and 90s, this is what happened in 2020 when Bitcoin was breaking its all-time high from 2017. It stayed up there for a while and then had a top just about 6 months later, I want to say in April, or from December to April, so 4 to 6 months in there. But then we also had this peak here that was sort of a mid-cycle top, and we did get a peak here for the Bitcoin ETF, a peak here for the break of the former all-time high from 2017, broke it just by a little, and we just had Ethereum ETF approval. So we'll see if this is just a peak and we're going back down to the neutral zone like stocks. But yeah, that's what we have for the fear and greed right now. Now, this is important to note on blockchaincenter.net, shout out, not sponsored. You can see that we do have this reverse in the trend. So we were going down on the alt season index and have been going back up. And right now, as far as the alt season index, if you take a look at it on the yearly time frame here, this looks extremely bullish to me. So higher highs, higher lows, and it looks like it's maybe getting ready to curl up. Now, does that mean alt season is imminent? Well, not exactly. We had these three spikes. This spike was around September of 2020. This spike, this was the true alt season. This is also when Bitcoin dominance tanked and the money rolled over into alts. And then, of course, Bitcoin made a double top here in November. And some alts, not most of them, but some did peak over there. And that double top can be reflected here. So that earlier top was around this little point right here. So maybe we're going to get one of those peaks in alt season. And if so, that may influence Bitcoin mining stocks. Now, going over to Bitcoin, you can see right here that we did make our way up, but now we're having lower highs and we're going to see maybe lower lows, or we're forming a wedgie flag pattern, if you will. But this gray line is the all-time high line from 2021. So I do want to see what Bitcoin price action does with there, especially in the weekly. So I take a look at the Heikin-Ashi candles, and we have not had a candle body completely close above it. When we have in the past, I'll go back and show you guys. The yellow line is when Bitcoin broke the all-time high, or broke the previous all-time high, and then we got to newer territory. And if you look at these candle bodies, not the wicks, but the bodies, as soon as the bodies were closing above this gray line, the former all-time high, then we were on our way to new highs. In 2017, what's interesting to know is that this is the gray line right here. Now look at this. It's kind of like what's happened recently. It spiked and wicked up above the prior all-time high, went down, but again, as soon as the candle bodies were closing above the former all-time high, then things continued on, and we had about 4 to 6 months left until the eventual peak. So I'm still waiting for that to happen. That has not been confirmed. But if you are subscribed to this channel, of course, I put out videos every week on Bitcoin mining stocks and the rainbow chart, and I will be sounding the alarm when that happens. So we'll see. Maybe we're just going to hit this mark and come back down, or we are getting ready to break up and through it. So going over through the mining stocks, we are going to go look at the same ones that we usually do. If there are different mining stocks you want me to take a look at, let me know. I look at about 10 mining stocks, but I want to look at the 10 that you guys are most interested in. So if there is a mining stock that you guys would like for me to add to the list, I used to have HUT on this list. I took it off, but if there is a mining stock you want me to swap in, please let me know. Starting off with Marathon or Mara. Again, the gray line is the peak, and I drew this fib, which starts from right here. This is the tool for the fib retracement. I draw from the prior high to low and make sure the fib is on log scale. So you click the fib settings, and we are on log scale. And what do we see? That overall, just like we were talking about a week ago, we are still above this 0.5 fib. We are still above all these moving averages, the 50, 200, 100. So overall, this is looking bullish, and we are still in this uptrend. Looking at the daily, anything else? Yeah, we are staying above the 50 and the 100. There is a little bit of selling off on the daily, so maybe we get a bounce somewhere around 1950 before going up and testing 2374. Now, I did want to take a look at the RSI on a couple of these, and the RSI, what that stands for is the Relative Strength Index, and that can sometimes show us whether we are getting ready to move to the downside, just in case, seeing if things are overbought or oversold. And here, what I notice on the RSI, and I hope you guys notice this too, look at these peaks. Now, the price overall went up with the candle bodies and the wicks, but the RSI deeply went down, and overall it is in this downtrend. But when the RSI went down and the price went up, that's known as bearish divergence. And so it's not surprising to me that we've come down, and it almost looks like maybe it's going to test that 50 line again. So I am wondering if maybe we're going to come back down to closer to this 0.5, or maybe it's going to touch the 618 and come back down. That's what's happened before. It had this little candle fake out where it did get above the line, kind of like I was talking about with Bitcoin, but then immediately just started to come back down. So overall, the relative strength, it isn't looking great, but inversely, you could look at the base of the RSI here and say, well, overall, it is still in this uptrend. If you're just following the cursor here, that overall it is still going up. So as long as that's the case, if the RSI stays above the 50, I would agree with that sentiment. But if it's going to curl over and start coming down, if it gets under this line right here at around 44, 45, then I think it's possible that Mara is going to be testing this 0.5 line at 1634 a little bit more. Going over to the next one, let's take a look at RIOT. And RIOT, you can see here on the RSI, again, this has formed a base over here, and this has been a common level for this RSI on the weekly. So really, it doesn't have RSIs do not have to be all the way oversold. They don't have to come down to that 30 number. So the fact it's forming a base right here is pretty good, and you can see that all the way since the dates at the bottom, April of 2023. So it's been over a year that this is within the lows of RIOT's price. So if you were thinking of dollar cost averaging in here, we're at those lows. I don't think that would be a bad idea. Also on the weekly, it is underneath the moving averages, the 200, the 100, the 50, and also we have this trend line that it got underneath. And now all those are acting now as resistance. We even got the 382. So there's multiple levels to this. The 382, this trend line, all these moving averages, and then, of course, this 0.5 fib. All of that is strong resistance, but hopefully the RSI is showing us that maybe we have a base here. Getting rid of the RSI, adding back on our buy-sell signal indicator. We did get a weekly buy signal. We do have higher lows, so maybe we're getting ready to come back up. And if you want to take a look at how to look for price targets, now there's a couple things you can do. One, you can take a look at the charts and see, are there any trend lines? And I don't base any of my buying or selling purely off of trend lines or indicators, guys. You have to kind of add it all up together, make a plan, set some price targets, and when price is getting to those levels, then the alarms and red flags should start going off in your head that, maybe those are areas that you could possibly encounter a lot of resistance. As I like to say, trend lines are only good for as long as they're good for. They're always meant to be broken. But if you want to take a look at some price targets, take your fib that you drew from the prior high to low, take it off log scale, and it'll bring some of those extensions down. And what's curious to me is that for Riot, we have this fib extension at the 1618, kind of near where that trend line is. Now, it is a little bit above it, and that's fine because you can see where the candle bodies are compared to the wicks are in different spots, but that 126 level, that's about a 12x, would be a very extremely bullish case in my opinion. And then of course you have 202 up here at the 2618, and that can extend further out and touch the trend line as well, or get near it. So doesn't mean that Riot has to get to those levels. And something I'm going to remind you guys of is that in 2021, there were a lot of altcoins that did well back here that did not here in 21. There's coins that did well in 2017 that did not in 2021. So just be aware of that. All because Riot has done well before doesn't mean it has to again. So do your own research and also consider market cap. A lot of YouTubers give ridiculous predictions. Now, I am not predicting or saying that it is going to get here, but I'm saying that is a level to watch for. And in my opinion, as far as if I was buying Riot right here, that's what I would be looking at as the maximum possible scenario. That does not mean I would not be taking profits at some of these lower levels just in case. So at least you can get your buy-in back, play with house money, see if it goes higher. Crypto is way more volatile than the stock market in general. I know these are stocks, but these tend to follow the crypto market. And here, Riot, that shows us pretty decently. So here you can see how it topped in February, March, and then here at a top in late December of 2017. The February and March were in 2021. Guys, that's when alt season happened. We can look at the Bitcoin dominance chart, and when dominance tanks, that's when it's the same time that the altcoins were going up and when the miners were going up, such as Riot. So late December, that's when Bitcoin dominance tanked. And then look at that, March, April, that's when dominance was tanking and going back over to Riot. That's when we had those dates. So look at this. Riot, even in September, or let's even move forward. Middle November, it was at $7.50, and it went up to 45. It peaked at 45. That's crazy. So it did like a 5x. And then here, Riot in November of 2020 was at $3-4, and then it went up to almost 80 in February of 2021. So things can happen very quick in the altcoin market and even with the Bitcoin mining stocks. So you are getting deeper value here should this happen again. Which mining stocks will go, I don't know. But if Riot is one you've researched and liked, then maybe consider that. What would that look like? Right now, it's at a $2.9 billion market cap. So if it did a 10x and went up to somewhere around 100, then you're talking about this being worth $29 billion. Not for a long time, as you can see, as these spike and go back down, but maybe just for a short period of time. And also do note, when these things sell off, I mean, we can measure this out. Over here, Riot had a almost 99% sell-off in 2018, and after the 2021 peak, a 95% sell-off. So, if Riot was to touch the trend line again, let's just say early in 2025, here I am around January, February, even 90% sell-off would, look at that, a 93% sell-off would put us right at the price we're at now. So maybe we're at the base for after the next cycle. Who knows? Just some fun things to play with right there. Next, let's take a look at CleanSpark, CLSK. So CleanSpark, as you can see here, last time I took the fib off log and we were looking at some price targets. And the reason why we did that is because CleanSpark, when we do have it on log, I want to say is around the 618 or 786 as far as price. Yep, it was right under the 786. So you can do that yourself, guys. Take a look at any price targets. That's one way I look for possible targets. Again, doesn't mean we have to hit any of them. And overall, compared to RIOT or Mara, CleanSpark has a much stronger looking chart. So maybe it is going to hit some of those levels further up. So let's do that. Let's take the fib off log scale like we did earlier and some of those extensions like a 10x. That's at the 4236 at 173.64, and a 10x would mean a 3.9 billion market cap would be 39 billion. Now, probably spike and go back down. But yeah, if you believe in CleanSpark, and right now it has a very strong looking chart, stronger than the last two. I'd say those are good targets to look for. Now, as far as the price, you can see here, overall, we are in this little wedge pattern right here, higher lows, but also lower highs. We did get a weekly buy signal and bounce off the 20 moving average. Let's take a look at the daily. The daily, it's riding the 50 moving average right now. It's gone under twice, kind of close to the 100-day moving average. And we do have a we do have a sell signal on the daily to the 50-day. So if it got underneath that, watch for levels around 15.5, somewhere in there. So is it the worst time to dollar cost average in right now? No, I don't think so. Is it possible you can get slightly cheaper prices, a buck or two cheaper? Sure. And if so, if you do like CleanSpark, I would not blame you if those were areas you decided to dollar cost average in. Next, let's go to CIFR mining. And here we're already on the daily, and you can see it is wicked down to the 100-day moving average. So again, decent value, and it's also near the 618. The 618's at 370, and right now it is at 380. Going over to the weekly, yeah, look at that. The 618, the 100-week moving average, and the 50-week moving average isn't too much further down at like 340. So overall, this is slowly grinding higher. I like this as a chart. Whenever things are slowly grinding up, I think it's hard to short those type of stocks for people that are into that. I'm not personally, but something I'll always bring up. And I'm not talking about CIFR for this cycle, but last cycle, look when it came out. You have that date, December of 2020. That's when Bitcoin was breaking the all-time highs from 2017. And it went from around 10 bucks up to 15 before having a massive sell-off down to 40 cents. And the reason I'm going to keep bringing this up, that was a 98% drop, is because I do not touch any new altcoins or IPO stocks that come out, especially within a year or two, and especially anything crypto related when it comes out pretty close to or after the new all-time high is made. So I don't touch altcoins like that. Now this one, that is history from the last cycle. If you do your research on CIFR and it looks pretty promising to you, I think there's a lot to be bullish about, but just something to consider. I've seen it turn out bad 99% of the time. There's very few exceptions, but hey, if you find something new and it does make you money, of course, I think that's great. I just don't think the odds are in your favor, even if the research is looking good. That's just been my experience with those new stocks and new altcoins. Next, let's go over to Wolf, Terra Wolf, and here you can see I drew this wedge, trying to mark these lower highs and higher lows as well. And right now it is right on the 50-week moving average and very thin candle body. So it does have the 10-week moving average as resistance right now, but the 50 as support. So it is really squished. Maybe, and the wedge is starting to thin out too. So maybe it's getting ready for an explosive move one way or the other. If it does move up, we have the 382 fib at around 280, and then the 100-week moving average at around 315. I'm curious about the daily. Yeah, the daily, look at that. It's just pretty smashed. Look at this candle on the daily. What a long-legged doji. So something big looks like it's getting ready. Now, it is a green candle, and overall, like I showed you with the alt season index, maybe the first phase or the first little bump of alt season is coming, and hopefully that would positively impact the miners as well. But again, we have to look at this trend line first. around 250 would be an area to get to, and then 280. And if it gets above that, something I really like about TeraWulf, should it get there, is its previous all-time high in November of 21. That was the second bump in the Bitcoin double top last cycle. If it does get there, I mean, think about it. That's pretty much a 20x, a little bit under right now. This does have a market cap of 750 million. And so if you multiply that times 2, that would be 1.5 billion. And if you multiply that times 10, that'd be around 15 billion for around a 20x market cap. So could it hit 15 billion? Could it hit higher? Who knows? Right now it has some key resistance to get through, that 382 at 284, the 100 moving average, and then look at that, the 200 moving average coming around to the 0.5. So if it gets above that 200 moving average and 0.5 at around $5, I think things are going to get bullish really quick for TeraWulf, should it get to those points. Next, let's go to Bit Digital. And Bit Digital, since we've checked this the last time, look at that. It is coming up even closer to the 382. It has wicked above, but the candle bodies are looking like it wants to possibly test that. Now the 50-week moving average is right on the 382. Both of those lines are gold right here. What is concerning is we do have these lower highs still. So it is possible this just makes another lower low and another lower high. You can see here, we could draw a trend line or channel here, doesn't matter. But you can see here the overall channel of this is going downwards. So Bit Digital, I would like to see this break above, and if it got to the 100-week moving average or even above it, I think that'd be good. Especially this 50 moving average and the 382 at 260. So above that would be good. Getting to around $3, I think, would be great. Even above that, you can see here it's been rejected twice by the 0.5 at 422. So that'd be the next level to break for Bit Digital. But again, the way I look at it is this is a $300 million market cap. If this is a mining stock that's going to do great, it has way more room to run, and maybe this can be one of those 20x potential mining stocks. And a 20x, again, you just multiply 300 times 2, that's 600 million, and then that times 10, that'd be 6 billion. A 20x would be a $6 billion market cap. I'm not saying it has to stay there, but if you do your research and like this one, I don't think you're buying at the worst time. Could times be better? Maybe this channel, you're going to get another bounce down, maybe. Or inversely, maybe we're getting ready to break above this 382 and the 50-week moving average. So again, I don't think it's the worst area if you really love Bit Digital. When we have alt season, if you have money in any of the correct mining stocks or altcoins, you'll be happy on money in there. There's no guarantees. Some of them don't run. Some of them don't get to former all-time highs, but the ones that do, you'll be very happy you got in there. So next, let's go to Bitfarms. After that, we have Iris Energy and Core Scientific. So almost through here. Bitfarms, you can see we're still honoring that trend line. We talked about this, guys. Just a couple weeks ago, we hit that trend line. We came back up, and look at that. I was talking about how we had the 100-week moving average, the 50-week, the 200. We also had the 0.5 fib. It got above all that. Now, it did wake up to that 20 moving average, but overall, to me, that looks pretty bullish. And maybe it's getting ready to get above this 618 fib. And as you can see with the candle bodies and the wicks, it has yet to close and stay completely above it. So right now, it is pretty close to that trend line we've been following from these higher lows. So good job, Bitfarms. Hopefully this is further up to go. It has a $660 million market cap right now. So plenty of room to run to the upside. And, former all-time highs of $10. Right now it's at $220. So, about between a 4 or 5x. But again, with that market cap, should this be one of the, not altcoins, but Bitcoin mining stocks that does well, you'll be happy that you got in Bitfarms. And Bitfarms right now, I'd say pretty decent level of the DCA. And we talked about it here at the trend line. and when it had the buy signal. So Bitfarms looking good with that move right there. Iris Energy Limited. Look at that move, guys. We were talking about this wedge, and just like I told you, trend lines are only good for as long as they're good for. Well, it broke out of that upper trend line in this wedge formation, and it shot up. Now, it's encountering some resistance at the 618 fib at 796. So I do want to see it close above. You can see it's tested it once, twice, 3, 4 times now. If Iris Energy can get above that level that it's at right now, about 780, here the 618, it says 794. If it can get above, stay above, close above, those will be great things. So this one, it's been new since November 21. Remember what I told you guys, be mindful and be careful of stocks or altcoins that come out from the IPOs or after the all-time high. So this one, this Bitcoin mining stock came out right when Bitcoin was making its last cycle all-time high. So as you can see, this one, man, it fell off 96%. So doesn't mean this next cycle it can't run up pretty good. But yeah, if you're able to get it anywhere near this trend line or even around the 50 moving average at around 5, Iris Energy, maybe this one's getting ready to blast off real soon. It has a market cap of 1.13 billion. So a 10x, that puts you at 11 billion and so on. So lastly, let's close with Core Scientific. And, this chart, we've been watching this one, and there's not a lot that we can say. Now, overall, this is the highest the candle body's ever been. It does have a market cap right now of 930 million. I know some of you are interested in Core Scientific, so having these green buy signals on the weekly, that's good. Now, the move is getting extended, but there isn't a lot to say here otherwise. It's tough to draw a fib. In a lot of technical analysis, there isn't a lot of competitive advantage we can have with TA or technical analysis because this is such a new stock in crypto. It came out right around the Bitcoin ETF around January 22nd of this year, so it's still just a tiny little baby. But yeah, look at this move right here from the last daily buy signal. It has gone up almost 50%. And it hasn't taken that long. So, in 2 weeks, it's gone up 50%. It's getting extended. Now, does that mean that it's going to correct and come down? Sure, you would say the odds are that, maybe a little correction down, like a 50% retracement is possible from that move. So we're looking here between 360 and 530. And if we just took 50% down here, what would we be looking at? There's better ways to do this. My God, it's not sorry, work brain. So, if it could possibly come back down to around this 437 level if it did have a 50% retracement, but it doesn't mean it has to. Guys, these new stocks sometimes, or altcoins, sometimes they can just go parabolic for no damn reason whatsoever. And sometimes, like I showed you with, what was that, CleanSpark or CIFR, one of those, I want to say CleanSpark, sometimes they can even fall off the table too. So as far as what it's going to do, I don't know. But right now the move is getting extended, and who knows if, like I said in the beginning of the video, if we are getting ready to have one of these big spikes in the alt season index, and maybe we get like 2, 3, or 4 big spikes, and it does look like we're getting ready to do that. Who knows? Maybe Core Scientific can go up, a few 100% from where it is right now. It's too hard to say. And I know some of you guys in the comments ask me for price predictions and what altcoin's going to do better, this or that. Guys, I do not know. And I'm going to tell you something. No one knows. No one knows what is going to do anything. What I am trying to teach here in my videos is how you guys can use technical analysis to your advantage. Do your research and put your money where your mouth is. Have some skin in the game. Make your picks. Obviously, don't invest more than you can afford to lose. But there is no true way to tell in the crypto market. You try to put the odds in your favor as much as you can with research, with technical analysis, and all those sorts of things. Even with spending time in the market and getting in when there's good value. But there is no guarantee. So, a lot of the research that you guys do is probably even better than mine as far as the fundamentals of some of these coins. But I've already told you, at least with new altcoins and new mining stocks and new IPOs, I don't touch them for a year or two from when they come out, especially when it's near the peak of a market. And we are having a peak of the market right now. Even if Bitcoin was to go to, let's say, 150K, we are having a peak because we are rivaling what the peak was in 2021. So we'll see. We'll see whether we're going to get rejected off here again, come down something like, I don't know, 56K, something like that with Bitcoin. No one knows. I mean, hopefully we have these patterns here that sometimes can lull people to sleep. And so many crypto videos out there are all about patterns and trying to predict things, and people get obsessed with the predictions. What I'm trying to do here on my channel is give you some of the tools to look at, to consider how to get deep value and to know if you're getting good value when you're putting your money in. But there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee we're going to keep repeating these patterns. If you believe in it, hey, I hope it does great again, but it's possible it doesn't. And you have to decide. You have to make your own plan. And right now, in my opinion, if you do like mining stocks, I think there's a lot of good things to look at. We are still in more deep value area. Bitcoin, the crypto market overall, it isn't overextended in one of these red or orange zones. We haven't had Bitcoin dominance dump yet like it has before to signal alt season. Alt season index is still relatively low, and we can get some spikes there. So I think there's plenty of bullishness left with whatever this next cycle looks like. But as far as what altcoin, what mining stock is going to do, what, when, how strong, to tell you the truth, no one knows. And any YouTuber that tells you or claims that they know, they're full of it. I'm just sorry to say, but that's why in this channel, I'm just trying to take as much of the stress out of it for you guys as possible, help you take a realistic look at the market and temper expectations. I'll be the first to admit that, hey, things could get really bullish, and maybe we get 200K Bitcoin this next cycle, and maybe some of these altcoins 10 or 20x. Guys, even saying that, like, I hope you understand that's crazy. It's crazy to talk about a 10 or a 20x so easily, because for most good stocks, you're looking at 30% gains a year or something if you're doing great. So if you are able to get a 10 or 20x, do have a plan, do consider taking profits and being ready for these moves, because should you hold on to some of these stocks after they make these big moves, we'll go to the rainbow chart. After they make these big moves, up here into these upper bands, if Bitcoin's at 150, 200K, and your mining stock that you got in right now, months from now, a year from now, half a year from now, whatever, goes up 10, 20x, if you are not considering taking profits, you could possibly be in for a world of hurt and seeing all those amazing gains go out the window. So should your altcoin, your shitcoin, your mining stock run hard, and I'm talking 5, 10, 20x, whatever, do consider getting your hard-earned money back. At least what you use to buy in, set your price targets. Literally, I'm looking at you right now, you watching this video, literally write down your plan. Make an email draft, write it on a notepad, whatever. Make a plan. If you have money in maybe 2 mining stocks and 3 altcoins, I showed you how I look for price targets. You can do that with the fib. You can base it off of when Bitcoin dominance tanks or when the rainbow chart is up in these areas. Write down conditions for the plan, and should some of those conditions start to be met, then you'll know what to do, because when euphoria hits the market, and I've been in here, Guys, I've seen too much retail, dumb money, friends and family even who never talk about crypto. All of a sudden, when they start talking about crypto, that should signal to you that it's possible profits are going to be taken by the whales. When the average person's talking about crypto, and I've told people back here like, hey, market's extended, it's in a bubble, be very careful. And I know a bunch of people that are still holding bags from either cycle. So now is a better time to get in than back here, yes. But you do want to be able to exit, especially when there's euphoria and people are telling you you're stupid for selling, all those things, because after all said and done, you'll be happy you probably took profits back then. So, yeah, anyways, hope you enjoyed this video. Hope my soapbox moment wasn't too much. But, guys, with this channel, I don't make anything from this, and I'm just trying to be helpful and simplify things for y'all and take some of the stress out of the crypto world for any of you new crypto investors. And I don't want to see any of you guys lose money. I want to see y'all make good money. A 2x is amazing, especially if you're using large sums of money. Never let anyone tell you that making 50%, a 2x, a 3x is not amazing. Making any bit of extra money is a good thing. And I want to see that happen with all of you following this channel. I'm not trying to lead any of you guys astray. I'm really not. But I'm also not trying to be delusional in what I'm preaching or advertising on this channel. I'm not trying to be an idealist and make unrealistic expectations. So I do hope you guys enjoy this type of video. I know it may not be as catchy as some of the other videos on YouTube where the guys have, their eyes falling out of their heads and they're talking about, XRP to 10K and Bitcoin to 500K. That's part of the reason I made this channel, because there's so many ridiculous channels out there that it is going to cause a lot of people to lose money. And I hate seeing that happen to so many hardworking people. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. And yeah, I'll be doing a stock video sometime later this week about Mag 7 stocks and even earnings reports for stocks this week. So thanks for watching. Take care.